My name is Carol, and I'm a travel addict. And I looked this up on Google, and so it's obviously true that it is a real thing. And it tells me that I'm happier than most people, so I just believe it. And I come by my addiction naturally. I've been traveling since I was a kid, going to visit my family's relatives, or my dad's relatives in Germany. And since then, as an adult, I've been to 60 countries, more or less. And so what I'm here today to talk about is more some of the lessons that I've learned from travel and things, like, again, pushing through your boundaries, the same type of things. One of the first things that I learned is that travel has taught me that I need to be adaptive to change, because no matter what my plan is, it's never going to come to fruition. And I learned that early in my traveling. The first trip that I took by myself was going to visit my friend Toe Sam in Philadelphia. And I've always been kind of a nervous flyer. And so I decided that I was going to go to the airport bar and have a tequila sunrise, because I was 21 and I thought that cool people drank tequila sunrises. And I had one too many tequila sunrises at the hotel bar and then missed my flight. And this is before the days of cell phones or anything. And so it was very interesting trying to get in touch with my friend in Philadelphia and let him know what my new arrival time was. And that was just the first time that my plans did not come to fruition. The most recent time that my plans didn't come to fruition was coming home from Thailand a couple weeks ago. And I had twice my flight was canceled due to the coronavirus. And so I've just learned to always be a little bit flexible. And another thing that I realized was, as Nicole said, like, I believed that I wasn't able to travel without a huge budget. And so what I've tried to do is limit myself in other ways and prioritize travel. For example, when I was first graduating from college, I didn't own a TV because I was like, I'm not paying a cable bill. I'm just not doing it. And so there was a guy at work that made fun of me for not having a TV. And he was like a jerk about it. And you can't tell, but I was like, so I went to Niagara Falls last weekend. What did you do? Did you watch TV? And that's my friend Jenny. She'll come up later in the presentation. And what I've realized too is, like, even the flight home from Thailand that I just took, I did it on a budget. Like, I used my miles to fly, and so I only ended up spending out of my own pocket $78. And the next international flight that I'm taking is to visit Jenny in London in May, and that flight was only $400. And so travel is available if that's what you make your priority, and that's the way that you choose to budget your money and your time. What I've also learned from travel is that the world isn't a scary place, that there's far more good in the world and good people than there are negative people. And I first learned that in Paris, again, being a little bit disorganized, because that's kind of who I am. I was going to visit my friend Lise, and I knew which subway stop I needed to get off on, but I had forgotten to bring the rest of the directions. And I arrived at like midnight in Paris, and I get off the metro at this one stop, and I'm kind of saying to and it was hospital something. And so I ask this guy who's also getting off the metro, hey, can you at least get me to the hospital? Because I thought, okay, well, if nothing else, I'll kind of be in the right place. And he said to me, well, you can just come to my apartment, and then you can contact your friend from my apartment. And I thought to myself, well, it's either alone on the streets of Paris or in this guy's apartment. And so I went with him to his apartment and ended up staying there. We contacted Lise. He left in the morning and left me alone in his apartment and was a perfect gentleman. And he's super handsome, so that was a little bit upsetting. The next time that I had the kindness of strangers was in Bogota, which is it used to be considered the most dangerous city in the world. And I was on a longer backpacking trip, so my pack was huge. And like, as you can see, it's like overflowing. There's duct tape holding it together. It's gorgeous. And there came a point where I was like, I'm sick of carrying this thing. I don't want to do it anymore. So I'm changing buses, and I literally kicked it off the bus. And these two guys come and they say, hey, do you want me to carry this for you? And I was kind of like, well, the worst case scenario is that they take it away and I never, ever have to pick it up again. So I was like, sure, go. And I watched them disappear. I had that backpack and another one. And I watched them disappear into the crowd. And I was like, okay, well, it's gone now. And it turned out instead, I was going to visit a friend in Cajica, which is about an hour outside of Bogota. And they took the same bus as me, went past their stop to come with me to Cajica. And again, I wasn't really sure exactly where to meet my friend. He said somewhere near the park. And so we went around the city looking for my friend, finally found him. And then I was like, well, can I do something for you? Can I pay you something? And they're like, no. And they just left me. It was just kind. And this is something that I read recently. It's in German, but it says basically the answer to happiness is courage. And I fully believe that. And I think that it's courage not only to travel, to do new things, but also courage to talk to strangers, courage to do things that frighten us in general. Because it is true that the minute we get out of our comfort zone, we realize who we are and what we're capable of. And that's what makes life beautiful. And so I would encourage you that no matter what it is that you dream about doing, whether it's travel or whether it's belly dancing, for example, whatever it is, go out and at least try it. I also read recently that braver is having the courage to suck at something new. So let us all be like this girl and flying and doing the things that make us happy.